All right, folks, these Texas Democrats, they are in two places, New York State, also Chicago. A little bit earlier today, New York State Governor Kathy Hochul sounded off on what's happening there, and she says she's ready to act to change their districts in light of what these racist Republicans are doing in Texas.
For Representative Plessa and your colleagues from Texas, what is your response to Governor Abbott, accusing you all of, possibly committing a felony by being here and not returning to Austin by this afternoon? Is it safe to say you have no immediate plans and plan to stay here indefinitely?
Have you ever heard the saying, Texas says, come and get it, come and take it? That's what we're saying. Look, Governor is very good at manipulating the truth, right? And what he's saying is not completely accurate. He knows that we're using a tool that was given to us by the founders of the Texas Constitution. He knows what the rules are. And he's trying to manipulate the situation to make it play in his favor. It's not going to work. The people of Texas know, they've seen this playbook before, and they want fair maps. I told you, we had 9 hearings on redistricting. We had hundreds of Texans show up against these maps. It was a handful of people that testified in favor of these maps. I'm talking about 500 people that showed up on Friday. Texas Republicans didn't give them an access to have their voice heard. They limited debate in those hearings. So what I say to the governor is, you need to have better policies. You're not gonna just eliminate 20.
So let me be clear. I'm a lawyer. A part of my practice is criminal defense work. There is no felony in the Texas Penal Code for what he says. So respectfully, he's making up some shit, okay? He's trying to get sound bites, and he has no legal mechanism. And if he did, subpoenas from Texas don't work in New York, so he gonna come get us how? Subpoenas in Texas don't work in Chicago. He's gonna come get us how? So let me be clear. He's putting up smoke and mirrors, and I'm hopeful that the media doesn't follow that. I will also say this, I was on the redistricting committee. I sat in on the meetings. We had 3 sham hearings with no maps, where people were forced to testify that they were neutral on the maps because of our processes, when actually, I would say about 99.9% of the people were against it. So they set it up. So when the litigation happens, because it's going to happen, trust and believe, right? That there will be testimony saying that everybody was neutral on it, which is, excuse my French, a damn lie. Then, when they got the map on Wednesday, and let me be clear, it was the worst kept secret in Texas. I was on the redistricting committee, and I was wondering in January, why am I on the redistricting committee? I mean, it ain't a redistricting year, and we didn't meet once. Right? But this was always the backup plan, always. I sat in on the hearings. It was a joke. The chair of the redistricting committee, Cody Vasut, is a lawyer. In the legislature, he is the expert on points of order. He knows the law. Cody pays attention to detail. During the redistricting committee meetings, well, I hadn't looked at anything. I don't know, I ain't seen no maps. Yeah. Whatever you say. So you peeing on me and you telling me it's raining and you expect me to believe it. Wrong answer. When they finally had the one public hearing with the map, and the secret was out. The stuff is gonna get filed on Wednesday and we're gonna have a marathon hearing on Friday, is what they said. The plan was filed on Wednesday and they had a 10-hour meeting on Friday. And the thing that was the most offensive to me as a person who went to these and asked questions about these, and let me be clear, the districts that are targeted overwhelmingly are Black districts, okay? They are pitting Jasmine Crockett against Mark Vesey, and they are pitting Al Green against CD18, where there's a Black representative. If you don't know who sat in CD18, I live in CD18, by the way, Barbara Jordan, Mickey Leland, Craig Washington, Sheila Jackson Lee, and Sylvester Turner. So those are the people they're trying to take out. So I'm real upset about it, and my constituents are real upset about it. But it's really interesting that the map person who says that some law firm drafted the maps and he don't know that much about the maps, I felt like I was in a bad edition of an episode of White Man's Burden. For the most part, he told us, grown people speaking to us as if we were kids, said to us, you need to be happy. We didn't have to give you any hearings in the first place, and we know what's best for you. Well, I respectfully submit that they don't know what's best for us. They do not know what's best for us. And let me also be clear. My constituents demanded that I be here. So you think I'm gonna listen to Donald Trump and Greg Abbott and Dan Patrick and the Attorney General who can't treat his wife right and who lies on documentation? So I think he needs to worry about going to jail. But my point is this: we, the Democratic contingent, we are paying attention to what our constituents are demanding of us. They've literally told us, if you don't quorum break, we will primary you. That's how important it is. People wonder, why should New York be concerned about what's going on in Texas? Why should anywhere be concerned with what's going on in Texas? I'm gonna tell you why. My grandmother says this: if you allow yourself to be a rug, people will step on you. No one was paying attention to North Carolina in 2024. There were 7 Republican Congresspeople, there were 7 Democratic Congresspeople. Guess what? The Republicans rigged the game in North Carolina, and they took 3 seats. I'm gonna say this one more again, that's Ebonics for those of y'all who don't speak it. They took 3 seats. Congress has a 3 Republican majority. Ding, 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 ding. So we weren't paying attention to what was going on in North Carolina, and look what we have. We got that big, ugly, terrible bill shoved down our throats. So guess what? I was paying attention. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Texas will not be North Carolina. We will not give him what we need. And we're marching, we ain't fleeing, we're fighting, and we are so incredibly thankful that the governor has hosted us, because we need allies.
They'd rather silence voters than serve them. From my perspective, to refuse to stand up and fight for our democracy as we are joining in solidarity with our friends from Texas means one thing: you won't fight for democracy, you're doomed to lose it. For almost 250 years, our democratic experience has been fought for, and it's endured. As governor of a state where many of those early battles took place, we're commemorating them next year. Those battles for freedom were here. That's why I cannot stand by and let this happen while Donald Trump and his co-conspirator, Greg Abbott, erode our democracy and drag us toward authoritarianism. Now, what Texas and Republican states are doing at the direction of Donald Trump, I say is nothing short of a legal insurrection against our Capitol. Legal meaning they're using the legal process. Does not mean it's legal, and it must be stopped. If Republicans are willing to rewrite these rules to give themselves an advantage, then they're leaving us no choice. We must do the same. There's a phrase: you have to fight fire with fire. That is a true statement of how we're feeling right now. And as I've said, another overused but applicable phrase: all's fair in love and war. That's why I'm exploring with our leaders every option to redraw our state congressional lines as soon as possible.
Bringing my panel right now, joining us right now, Dr. Omekongo Dibinga, Senior Professor Lecturer, School of International Service, American University. He also, of course, is the author of the book Lies About Black People. Also, Dr. Nyambe Carter, Professor, University of Maryland, University Park. She joins us right now as well. Glad to have her here. Dr. Larry J. Walker, Associate Professor, University of Central Florida, out of Orlando. Glad to have all 3 of you here. So let's unpack this thing right here. Here's the issue that Democrats are facing. Nyambe, I'll start with you. And that is, Democrats believe in fairness. Democrats believe in what's just, they believe in what's right. And so what has happened is you've had these bipartisan, these commissions, these independent commissions, the voters voted upon California, New York State, Michigan as well. Okay, that's great. They believe in fairness. Republicans are like, we don't give a shit about that. Let's take Ohio. The voters in Ohio passed a similar commission. The Republican legislature said, bump that, we ain't doing that shit. They overrode that commission. And so basically, Democrats have been fighting essentially with their hands behind their backs, or Republicans have been sitting here slashing and burning. And so the problem that Democrats have, they're going to have to go to the voters to overturn those commissions that were approved by the voters to be able to do this. And so even Attorney General Eric Holder, who leads this redistricting, gerrymandering, fighting gerrymandering, he now is on the record as saying, hell, I've been against gerrymandering, but if they're going to use gerrymandering to bolster their numbers, I can't be against it and screw my own party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, look, this is a war of the weapons, right? And for a long time, Republicans have used gerrymandering very skillfully. If you remember Project Red Map, where, over 20 years ago, Republicans looked at the sea of American voters and saw that the policies that they favor are not popular. People don't like them. People don't want more restriction in their life. They don't want less social welfare in their life. So Republicans knew that the only way that they could continue to win is to rig the maps. And they've done it quite skillfully. They were starting, like I said, using those 2010 numbers, turning over those small House district and those House seats all across these states, in New York, in the Michigans, in the Ohios, with their eyes on gubernatorial seats, with their eyes on being able to have these state legislatures, because that's where most redistricting happens in many places. And so they could have this moment, so they could have their moment. And now we're here in Texas, where they're not even pretending anymore that this has anything to do with fairness. And they can call it a partisan gerrymander, they can call it whatever they want to, but we only see that there are districts where they are represented by minorities and or Democrats, that these they are being packed essentially between Austin, Dallas, and Houston. And so we know what this is about. And also the Rio Grande Valley. We know what they're doing. And I think the problem with Democrats is they don't recognize that this is not something you can sort of, be nice about. This is naked, bare knuckle brawls here. And I think honestly what's happening with Republicans in Texas right now is they didn't anticipate that the Democratic caucus would do this, because this is something the Republicans would do.
First of all, we saw that, Larry, when the Republicans ran out of D.C. so they would not vote on the Epstein files. This is former Attorney General Eric Holder. Again, he has been leading a group against gerrymandering for a very long time. He now says, hey, that's not helping us. Watch.
And so I've been against gerrymandering. But in light of what Texas Republicans are doing at the direction of the White House, I say that what we've got to do is take responsive measures that are temporary in nature and combat that. We simply can't lie down and think that if we play fair, we're going to get a fair deal. We've got to do things that maybe I didn't necessarily support before, but that I find necessary to support now.
Here it is. What Niameh just said, Democrats have been playing nice. That is, this is what's right, this is what's fair, this is what's just. And the other side's like, we ain't doing none of that shit. You have to be gangster as gangster as they are. Larry, you're on mute.
So, Roland, this is like politics. If you have gladiators in Rome back in the day fighting. So this is about maintaining a permanent majority. So you're right. The Democrats have the right to fight. They have to get the street and talk. Because if you don't, 2026, 2028, and beyond, the harmful policy right now, the Trump administration and obviously those Republicans maintain a power structure, and we'll continue some of these same policies. The other thing that's really interesting here is former Attorney General Holder talked about, this is gerrymandering, and you talked about it, and he's done.
Larry, hold on one second. I got to stop you. We got to get your audio fixed. I don't know if it's the headset or whatever, but we're hearing every other word. So guys, work on that. Let me go to Amy Congo.
Look, Roland, you've been talking about this for weeks. Democrats, go hard, fight back, speak up. Don't just give speeches on the floor. Like, get out there and use your power. We talk about how blue states are funding red states and all of these things. These Democrats are finally starting to do that. The fact of the matter is, but I think you said this a couple of weeks ago as well, that I'm also going to repeat. You said something to the effect of, don't give these ultimatums to the Republicans and, with Abbott. Say, if you do this, we're going to do it in California. We're going to do it in New York. Do it anyway. Because these guys are shady. They are all about power grabbing. So the fact that Pritzker and Hochul and Newsom and possibly the, Westmore down here, in Maryland are thinking about doing this, in terms of adding more seats, don't think about it. Do it. This is the fight to maintain the democratic experiment. What are you going to do to help protect individuals in fighting for this democracy? So the fact that they're doing that, I hope that if the Republicans back down, that these blue states still do it, because they are going to figure out some other shady way to keep hold of the House. And their goal is, if Trump tries to run for another term, to help him do that, or if someone like a J.D. Vance comes in, make sure they get somebody in there who makes sure that Trump doesn't get prosecuted. That's their end game. So they have to fight this in every way, shape, or form. But lastly, I'm going to say, Roland, for people who live in Texas, particularly those who have been affected by this flooding, it shouldn't matter if they redistrict or not. Y'all who live in those districts should not be voting for these individuals who would put something like this on the floor, where they should be working only and primarily to be getting you the relief that you need for what just happened with this flooding and the lives lost there. And so the fact that they can still redistrict and win seats, there shouldn't be a Republican in Texas who is satisfied with the Republican Party down there. But forget it, regardless of what they do, this is what blue state leaders need to do, and this is what those Democrats in Texas need to do. And I applaud it 100%. We need more of that nationwide.
Folks, in 2021, when these maps are being withdrawn, Texas Democrat fled. But then you had some Texas Democrats who were weak, who were like, we need to go back and fight this, which was stupid because they had no votes. And so former State Representative Jarvis Johnson joins us right now. Jarvis, this here is a photo. You were in that photo. This was a news conference. This article is May 31st, 2021. And I remember some of those Democrats, and some of them actually lost when they actually ran for re-election, because they were like, well, no, we were elected to do our job. We're going to come back and fight the good fight. And it was like, the hell are you doing? You don't have the goddamn votes. You're going to get your ass kicked. And it was stupid as hell to sit here and go, let's just come back and debate this on the floor. No, the votes were not there. So the smart strategy is leave the state, stay out long as you can, and keep forcing Abbott to have to call special session after special session. But you cannot think you're going to somehow appeal to their good side, and we're going to make the good faith argument. They will spend 60 seconds voting for these new maps in a heartbeat.
All day long. I always say you can never be rational with irrational people. And the fact is that Republicans have become so irrational, and unfortunately, Democrats feel like at this point that they can appeal to their sensibility. We know exactly what they're doing. This is a power grab. When they can't win, they cheat. Their own base is tired of their beliefs, their policies, their talking points are all horrible. They're all trying to protect Trump, but this is a power grab for them. And Democrats need to start understanding, if Republicans were willing to burn the nation's Capitol down behind a lie, then Democrats better start learning how to stand up for truth and learning how to fight fire with fire. At the end of the day, everybody wants to talk about, Democrats, you're derelict in your duties. Your duty is to protect your constituency. And so to Trump and to Abbott and all the Republicans that want to keep talking about how Democrats aren't doing their job, they're exactly doing their job. And so you need to start doing yours and stop cheating. Stop trying to draw lines so you can get more seats. Have good policy and go to your voters, but stop doing this. And Democrats that are there, I'm telling you, please stay. You ain't got nothing to come back to.
Yeah, and here's the thing right here, okay? This happened in 2003. Democrats fled and a deal was cut. I got no problem saying it. Former state rep Ron Wilson was a turncoat. He stood with those Democrats, stood with those Republicans, because he thought he was going to get that congressional seat at Al Green. He ran for it, got his ass kicked. Then he lost his own state rep seat. You ain't got to say it. I'ma say it. I don't care. That's what happened. And guess what? They got screwed. 2021, same thing happened. This is an NPR story right here. Under revisions during closed-door negotiations, Republicans added language that can make it easier for a judge to overturn an election and push back the start of Sunday voting when many black churchgoers head to the polls. The 67-page measure would also eliminate drive-through voting in 24-hour polling centers, both of which Harris County, the state's largest Democratic stronghold, introduced last year. Let me also say this to everybody who's watching, who don't understand why Jarvis is saying what he's saying. What Texas also did, Republicans in Texas used to vote straight ticket. Guess what? Democrats in Harris County, where Houston is, got organized. Democrats in Dallas County got organized. Democrats in Bexar County, where San Antonio is, got organized. Democrats in Travis County were already organized. They then began to emphasize straight ticket voting. Guess what happened? Republicans lost Bexar County, lost Travis County, lost Dallas County, lost Harris County. And what did the Republicans in Texas do at the state capitol, Jarvis?
They took away straight party ticket voting.
Under the guise of, we want the voters to be thinking about the people they should be electing. So therefore, we shouldn't have straight ticket voting in Texas.
And you understand, in Harris County and all the other suburban counties around the state of Texas, you're going to have a large, very large ballot. And so you're going to take voting, and now you're going to make these lines extremely long. You're trying to discourage people from voting. You're trying to take away people's opportunity to vote. Standing in line for 7 hours simply to vote is ridiculous in America. But the fact is, this is why they did it purposely, to discourage voters from making sure that they can go to the polls and go and do their duty and go back to work.
So let me also help people who don't understand what we're talking about here. They hate Harris County. Harris County had 24-hour polling centers. They said that's illegal. I don't understand why. If you can go to a damn McDonald's 24 hours, why in the hell can't you vote? It's safe. Then they said, oh, yeah, we need to get rid of this voting in your car because a person should have the privacy of voting in a booth. What the hell are you talking about? My car is more private than anywhere else because ain't nobody in the damn car. They took that away. Why? Because they could not stand the big numbers that were happening in Harris County. Oh, and then what happened when the hurricane hit Texas and Harris County was devastated? This same asshole governor refused to give $1 billion in funding that came from the federal government, taxpayer money, to the folks in Harris County, and put the money elsewhere because he did not like the fact that Hidalgo is the county judge, and Democrats control Harris County, and Democrats control the mayor of Houston, then Mayor Sylvester Turner. And so these white racist Republicans have been denying billions of dollars to places like Harris County because they're pissed that people vote blue in Harris County. That's why Democrats in Austin cannot come back and must use every tool to stop these fascists in Texas.
Absolutely. And I hope that these Democrats truly understand there's nothing to come back here to. If you come back here, then we lose. We have to be willing to tear this system down to rebuild it. But we got to do it in the name of democracy. We got to do it right. But if the Democrats don't stay together, and here's the problem. The rumors are, they ain't going to be able to stay together. So, of course, the governor's going to call it again and call it again and call it again. But at the end of the day, if Democrats stay strong, you can defeat Republicans because they can't go into November trying to do this because they got to get into their own elections. But if we stay strong, we can win. We can protect our seats. We can protect and save what they are trying to steal. And exactly, they're literally taking away our black seats and literally creating themselves more Republican seats. So at the end of the day, there's all this threats that they're going to arrest people and fine people. All that's lies. They can't do none of that. They can't do any of that. These are all just lies. So in 2021, I helped lead the quorum break, and it was hard to keep it together. But at the end of the day, I still believe that the Democrats can pull this off, but they got to stay strong.
Absolutely. Jarvis Johnson, I appreciate you joining us at late. We call you immediately. And so never say I don't reach out to Omegas and show them some love. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
All right, brother. Take care.
Go to my iPad, folks. This is from the same NPR story. It says right here, the vote in the Texas Senate came this is like the last time they did this here, y'all. And Larry, this is what people need to understand, how they don't give a damn about rules. The vote in the Texas Senate came just a short time after a final version of the bill had been made public Saturday. Around midnight, Republicans wielded their majority to suspend rules that would normally prohibit taking a vote on a bill that had not been posted for 24 hours, which Democrats protested as a breach of protocol that denied them in the public time to review the language first. So they will change the rules to suit them. They will change the procedures. And so you cannot trust Republicans to do what's right and what's fair. So you have no choice but to be as hardcore as they are.
This is about power and not democracy. And if people don't realize that, then we're going to continue to have the problems that we've already seen the last couple of months. And listen, you're right, Roland. Democrats have to be, once again, really willing to fight in the ring over this issue. The Republicans are going to continue to change the rules. There was a time that, it was a handshake agreement about how policies and procedures, whether it was the state or the federal level. Those days are gone. So you have to understand that they continue to change the rules, and Democrats have to be willing to adapt. In fact, they need to start going to defense of some of these issues. And I don't just mean in some of these blue states, but Democrats are going to really think about a long-term plan as to address issues related to these voting, because it's going to continue to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
and once again, this is about power, not democracy.
Yes, it's going to continue to happen because the margins are small, Niambe. They are small margins. As you heard Representative Jolanda Jones say, there's a three-vote lead they have in there. They took the 3 seats in North Carolina. North Carolina used to have a 10-3 delegation, Republican versus Democrat. Then, when Democrats got control of the North Carolina State Supreme Court, they outlawed gerrymandering, racial and partisan gerrymandering. So North Carolina's congressional delegation went from 10-3 to 7-7. Republicans got control of the State Supreme Court, and then they took the seats back. Yo, that's what's going on here. People need to understand these people do not believe in fairness. They do not believe in what's right and what's moral and just. And so this is where Democrats can understand it's about power. And to all the folks who are watching who are like, oh, man, you sitting there talking Democrat and Republican. Guess what, all y'all black folks who saying that bullshit? You know what these folks going to do? They're going to vote against everything that's for black people. They are anti-black. They are anti-brown. They do not care about the advancement of black people. And so why in the hell would I even remotely consider voting for these racist fascists? And that's exactly who they are. This is a racist gerrymandered bill. This is a racist map. 61% of Texas is minority, and these white Republicans want 70+% of the congressional delegation to be white and Republican.
Mm-hmm. And in this particular case, Roland, procedure is for fools, right? I mean, these people will use every rule that they can get, then they change those rules. And if there are no rules, they'll bend them, right? Because they want to make sure that they are always in control. And as much as possible, they want to push out as many people that are going to be in opposition, that will throw up some red flags, that will stand in their way. And what they want to do, I mean, like, there was no need to do this gerrymandering right now. This isn't about right sizing. This is about Donald Trump, right, wanting more votes. And they said, we're going to get them for you, sir. And that's what they're doing. Nobody's asked for this. Nobody needs this. And I think the problem that Democrats keep having over and over again, at least it seems like the Texas delegation has got it, but maybe the National Democratic Party hasn't gotten it yet, is you cannot negotiate with these people. You cannot treat them like plain dealers. They're not. They are willing to backbite, backslide, and say whatever they need to say to get the things done. I mean, even trying to browbeat these Texas lawmakers into coming back into the state as if these people give a darn about their constituents and who they're not serving. It's just an attempt to get them to come there so they can hold that vote and keep going about business as usual and making sure most of those people are out of their seat and that their constituents end up with worse representation. And so, this is the appeal, right, to our lowest selves. The call is coming from inside the house.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.